on DFY Magic Themes, we'll be talking about Gmail and how Google has done a major update. Well, a very good evening to you. I hope you're well. First in the room tonight was Tommy, followed by Barry, Bradley, Ivan, Paul, Richard, Stefan, and Bob. So good evening to all of you that are in the room. If you're watching on Facebook in the Inner Circle membership area, you can come in by following the link into the room. And a good evening to Colin, who's just joined us as well tonight. We're going to give you a big update about Google and Gmail. Very interesting stuff happening there. That's going to make it easy if you have DFY Magic Themes hosting to update this. All that and lots more here on Live for You. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, sideways, upside down, whichever way you are watching us from. Hello. How you doing, Robert?
It's happy Friday.
I love it. I absolutely love
and
it.
As much as tired as I am, I love that music. I'll tell you, it helps me at the end of the week. I lose the track of days, the track of time. It's just it's been a wild ride last couple of weeks. And it's interesting, Stephen, because as you know, we've been busy with the accountability program and all that extra work that creates. It sends us off on tangents. It sends us off on being defiers again, because we promised to put together an accountability program to get people to work. Isn't that what we started to do, just to make them accountable?
And it's interesting because we've had a great response from people wanting to be held accountable. In fact, we've had some messages from people who are worried they get kicked off the course because there's things in their lives with their families or wherever it may be that have got in the way. And we've reassured them that we're not in this to kick you out if there's something in your life that is happening. Thank you for letting us know. We're grateful that you've informed us of what's going on in your life and the reasons why you've fallen behind. And that's perfectly fine. All right. We're not here to kick you out because of an issue in your own life at the time. What we wanted people to do is be held accountable so that myself and Robert have put all this time in to make sure that you can build the whole business up from the ground up. So where we've had training in the past where it's like, put a website up, do citations, do social media, and then you're on your own. We decided to build this from the very ground up on a site, which is what me and Robert are doing, so that we end up with your agency site built. Then you end up with 9 other niche sites built, and you can pick which niches you want. And all the back stuff to do with that, with all those sites, is done in place and up and running. Then we're going to move on to the part where we're going to do the outreach to find people. And there's a few ways within the accountability program we're going to share with you some great ideas that I've been talking to people about, and myself and Robert have been talking about, and that's going to be shared inside the accountability program. So why are we being harsh in a way to say, if you're not doing this, you're out, right? Well, the fact of the matter is that we want people to build so we can all be at the same place as we move along with this. So if we get 3 months down the line and we've got someone in the group who hasn't done the work that we are putting our time in to help you guys with, then it's not fair on the others for us to then say, well, okay, we got to wait for one person because they haven't done any of the work, and they're going to suddenly catch up in month number 5. You know, I mean, I'm saying month number 5, but to be honest, we want this all up and running within a couple of months, ideally 3 months at a push, and realistically, it takes 3 to 5 months for your sites to be seen by Google. Now, Robert shared some exciting news today, which I was chuffed about, that his site got indexed without any help from adding it to the Search Console. And this is just doing the stuff that we are going through in the accountability program. Do you want to take that, Robert?
I just want to say that we could do and be like everybody else, but we never have been and we never will be. So being accountable, right, is where we started, and we're going to hold everybody accountable. And there'll be times that some people don't like us because we're holding them accountable. But that's the point of an accountability program, to make sure that you're meeting milestones. And what will happen if you get back to week 4 or week 5 and you haven't even built a site? You're not even in the game. And we can't do that. That's not, we said we're going to hold you accountable, and we have to. And if it's the fear of missing out on the accountability program, then get the work done. If you can't handle it because there's too much on your plate and life is happening, then you just excuse yourself from the program. It's okay.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day,
Mm.
we've decided to not just make this an accountability program. We decided to put everything in it. And it's like Stephen was saying, it's starting from ground zero. I don't care if you know where ground zero is or not. We're going to get you there, and we're going to get you through it. What do you have to do to be part of it? You have to raise your hand and be accountable and say, I didn't get it. I don't understand it. I can't find it. Or tell us your wins. I got it done. I'm ready to move on. That's what we're seeing the most of. The majority, the 80 to 90%, somewhere in that number, usually is they have no problem getting the training done of the week. They have no problem reaching the milestones, and they're getting the stuff done. But not only that, they're getting to the core foundational building schools, not schools, but foundational tools of building their agency correctly, which is going to help them in their business.
I mean, look at, Bob's an example of an action taker. I decided to do the agency site upgrades, even though I had access to Robert's complete site. It was an eye opener, and I learned a lot, and this is why we're doing this process. And I will say, I won't name who they are, but we've had some support tickets coming in asking questions to do with stuff that we haven't even touched upon yet. I know this particular person is in the accountability program. Follow the process, which majority, I say 99% of you are. You got to follow the process of what we are doing to get to that point that you've got your agency site built, you've got all your other sites up and running. Because there's going to be one big bonus thing, right? As a graduation present for me, when you get to the end of this, I have found a way where you can also build virtually any site in a very easy way, right? And only those that take action, I'm going to do a bonus live training after we've got the accountability program done. And the way we're going to tell is we're going to say to you, okay, here, we want you to share with us the URLs of the sites you've gone and put up. So we can go and have a look. We make sure you've done the name, address, and phone number and stuff like that. we got softwares that can search that you've done citations, you've done your social media stuff. So we can look at all the ones, right? And it's gonna be very much okay. Robert's gone and done it. Tick. I'm going to invite him on the call, and that's how it's going to work. We'll invite people on that we know have done the work, and this bonus training is going to be a nice big eye opener, and it's only going to be for people who've done the work as a present from me to you guys. And the stuff I've been playing with, and it's super exciting, very easy to do. I built a site for a local mobile snack van. The guy, I know the guy very well, and he's not. To be honest, he's not very good at business. And so I bought the domain name, so I own it. I've gone and put all the stuff on it, and the next step is for me to finish pushing it up to get it on page one of Google. It's already indexed, and as I go along in a couple of weeks' time, and I've done all the stuff that we are doing in the accountability program for this site, I will share the site with you guys. I want to finish all the bits and pieces on it first before I share it, and make sure it's solid, make sure it's 100% solid, and fully up and running. And so we want to be encouraging. We want to be positive. And I've seen people post in the group. I know, I'm sure it was like Barry Lane. I think Tommy has. There's a few people in here that I've seen posting in the group saying that they've done it. I think Richard was one of them. I'm just trying to off the top of my head.
No, the majority. I'm telling you, the majority of people are doing it. Some have had some snags, but the majority, I'm going to say the 80 to 90% are getting through it and getting it built. Now, it's not difficult if you just keep doing the steps. It's difficult if you fight the system. That's when it becomes hard. If you're trying to change the route before the route's even laid out, it becomes more and more difficult for you. But at the end of the day, it's to get you guys built, get you guys indexed, and get you guys to understand building the foundation. Starting with the right keywords is what's key here. But we're going to get into some more of this stuff later on in the inner circle. And I think, Steve, you wanted to talk about the
update. I just want to read this out. So here's another action taker, Bradley. Right? Absolutely, it forces you to do the work. And even though I've been a member since July 2021, I too have learned and relearned things that I've missed, even for things that I thought I knew. And it's all thanks to RNS, Robert and Steve. So,
thanks, Bradley.
I'm very lucky. Thank you for that, Bradley. I'm very lucky because I'm in contact with people who hear updates all the time. Now, the thing I want to talk about, I'm not going to show. There's nothing to really show at the moment. But the big update with Gmail. And when we're in the inner circle, I'm going to show you guys how to do this on our hosting. All right, and there's a very easy way to do this, which is why I'm saving this bit for the inner circle. If you're not a member, you've got to go to dfymagicthings.com/live for you, and it'll show you how to get into the inner circle and sign up. But the main thing with this is the latest update for DMARC. All right, and the thing
is
Google, Google is changing its policy. So if you don't have DMARC set up on your email for your domain, the more likely what will happen is your email will go straight into spam when you send messages to Gmail accounts. It's going to be a big update, and it's happening this month. I was just reading some information. So both Gmail and Yahoo will require that senders provide a single-click process for users to unsubscribe. That's part of the process if you're sending out lots of emails to these people. And Sarah says, "Oh, that's Run DMC." Very funny. And basically, if you don't have this set up on your email account, on your domain name, and you start sending emails out, what you're going to find is that you're going to be put into the spam folder. The biggest update, guys, is if you're sending out lots of emails, you have to have a way to unsubscribe. If you don't have that option at the bottom to unsubscribe, from your email list, two things will happen. One, people just click spam anyway, and you'll get thrown straight into the spam list instantly. And if enough people do it, that's your domain name broken for good. I knew someone, a very big internet marketer, that was sending out thousands of emails a day, and he didn't have an unsubscribe button at the bottom, and hundreds of people started saying spam, 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 spam. And then he messaged me one day and goes, my open rate has dropped down to 1%. And that was it. You're right. Yes, so you are right. Basically, if you're sending a lot of emails out, and this will work in any business, so it's worth you having it on your domain name. All right, because if you're going to mail out, let's say, to let's say 500 local businesses, and you're doing at least one email a week, right? That's 2,000. That could be 2,000 emails a month that you're sending out. And if you're sending that out to Gmail lists and you haven't got this set up right, then Google will actually just ban your domain name completely. So when you try and send an email to Google, it won't even reach the spam box. It's just going to go, well, buy email, buy domain, and then you have to buy another domain name and set that back up and do everything again, and then do what you call warming up. So when you set up a new domain name, you're going to email out from it. You have to send out a few emails to people you know, get them to open them, get them to reply back, and you have to spend about 3 months doing that to warm it up gradually until you can send thousands and thousands of emails out. In the same way that they are cracking down on using Gmail accounts to send thousands of emails out. There's products out there where you can send thousands of emails using Gmail accounts. And it's going to get tougher and tougher because they've been killing off Google accounts for people who don't go to their Google account regularly. Another update it's still a rumor. Big things are going to happen with a free pack. It used to be the 5-pack, now it's a 3-pack. And there's a rumor from a friend of mine who's in the know, who reckons eventually it'll be the sponsored Google green tick. I keep forgetting what it's called, where you have to be approved by Google
Google
to be in
placements.
that free, be in that top 3-pack. So eventually, not everywhere, because if it's a lower keyword or a small town, then most likely not everyone's going to want to pay Google to have a tick against their name to make sure they're seen, right? But in major cities, when you're in major cities, let's say London, maybe Wellington in Florida, places like that, you're going to find that if there's competition and there's 2 or 3 companies willing to have that Google green tick against them, that's going to be the big change on those major cities, that you will not get a free pack. And I keep saying to people, I'm in these groups and people are going, oh, I've got to have me Google My Business listing. I've got to have this. I get enough traffic from low-hanging fruit to my domain names that I do not have to worry about Google. Focus on Bing as well. I mean, the traffic I've been getting from Bing has been fantastic. And because Bing's the runner-up in the search engine world at the moment, you're going to find that they'll be happy to give you a Bing listing. And they're not as fussy as Google right now. Now, will it change? I reckon eventually it will for them as well. But Google at the moment are doing some big changes because of the finances. Their market share has dropped over the years. And you think they've got to pay for tons of service for YouTube, tons of service for Google, tons of service to run all of their systems as they are now. So the future of Google could become a fully paying platform. It could become that. At the moment, there's a lot of free products that are available on a fair use policy. And they make their money out of sponsorship. But if sponsors aren't paying enough money to support the platform, then they've got to find other ways to make revenue.
Well, you say that, Steve, and we all understand that Google is the 600-pound or 800-pound gorilla as far as a search engine, but there are hundreds of other search engines out there. Now, for Google to stay ahead of the game here, and like you say, to stay in profit, they are a huge company.
Mm.
But for them to stay in profit, they have to offer the services that in return deliver results. The 3-pack has been a free service to now of delivering those leads to the local businesses because everything's based on local. And that service has been pretty solid, right? So instead of the companies trying so hard to get their websites to rank, they work on getting in the 3-pack. But the 3-pack and the website is part of the same algorithm. And now
Mm.
what you're talking about with this next upgrade, right? And that's only about emails, but I guarantee you somewhere down the road, just like it wasn't that long ago, maybe it was longer than I'm thinking, but when we went from HTTP protocols to HTTPS,
Mm.
right? That was a big change on the internet. Everybody had to catch up. Everybody had to get a certificate. And this is one of those things. It's that next upgrade that you need to have as part of the algorithm. That's what it's going to become. It's going to be, do you have it or you don't have it? They're checking.
Mm.
And eventually your sites will be ranking or not ranking. It's one more tick for it or one more tick against it in the rankings. So what we all do, we have to pay attention to all of these things. But what I was getting at, if Google's not careful and they push too hard for the money, then Bing and Yahoo and the other search engines start to take up that gain. Why did
Mm.
Bing start doing so well? First of all, they're Microsoft. They're a huge company. Second of all, because Google got, in my own terminology, a little cocky with their spend and with their ad costs, that Bing saw an opportunity and boom, they came in with their ad costs way cheaper. So the masses started moving over to their ad platform,
Mm.
and that hurts Google in their income. So, if you're not careful, the competition will see a weakness and they'll hit it. They'll hit it hard. And that's what we all have to do.
Last year, Google laid off 12,000 members of staff, and already this year, they in the news was that they're planning on shedding a further 1,000 members of staff from Google. So you ask yourself the question: why are they getting rid of people? It could be one or two things. One, it could be the fact they've got a lot of AI models so they don't need half the people they originally had. But it's always profits in these big companies. That's what it comes down to.
That's
If
what it
they can get
always
rid of
comes down to.
12,000 members of staff and each member of staff was being paid, let's say 20K a year minimum, it's a lot of money for Google to save. Um, and so it's going to be an interesting industry coming up over the next few years, what's going to happen. But I also think that some of the smaller search engines are really going to start taking up the pace. And you're going to see more and more of ones like Bing and Yahoo searches and other ones like that. So it pays to try and make sure that you can look out and see if you can get your sites on them where possible. And if you're stuck with that, Google it. But go into Google and say, how do I get listed on other search engines? There are certain pages you can go to and just submit your site to them to get found. But a lot of the search engines look at Google in the first place. So we have to play the sort of cards with Google. As long as they're making money um, out of the channels they got online and stuff like that, then they'll carry on doing what they're doing. But I think there's some bigger changes yet when it comes to being found on the front page of Google, and we have to watch what's going to happen.
I, I think you're spot on with what you just said. Make Google happy.
Mm.
Give Google what they like, right, for the websites. We're at the end of the day, remember, we're putting websites together and the content and the information we're feeding to people is what they're looking for, what they're searching for. We're
Mm.
answering those questions that they need to have answered. So when we do quality content and we do quality research on what we're trying to provide, if we do it right for Google, it's going to go across all the other platforms. And just one more note, what I noticed is when my sites are ranking in Google, they slowly come up in Yahoo and Bing. But sometimes they're really doing well in Yahoo and Bing and nowhere to be seen in Google.
Mm.
So you never know sometimes some of the keywords go to the other people first. So keep that in mind. It's still, like you said, Stephen, 1,000 million times, right? Content is king. And if we write good content and we give the right answers for what people are searching for, that's when they serve our sites.
And the other recent big change with Google was actually, oh, what a shame I can't tell everyone in the free groups. I'll tell everyone in the inner circle in a minute. Don't you hate it when that happens, Robert?
You're tough.
Not me, it's the system, it auto kicks in after I press the play button. Anyway, we see all the free groups next week. We're going to go to the Inner Circle now and talk about Google, and we're going to do the DMRC thing and show you how to set it up on our hosting.